Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
I'm back and I'm mad.
Right off.
So we don't need any plastic sprues or anything, just go virtual. And just when I thought virtual mechanic and pimping cars was a bit odd. Hello.
You too can build models, except not build models. I
Yeah.
have an idea. Why not spend the time you're taking to virtually build a model to actually build a fucking model? At least those 3D animated fucking beams in that room were nice and thick when you virtually hang yourself.
It's I think I know things can be virtualized to amuse people. Farming simulator. There's even a pressure washer simulator. Like,
Yeah. No, none of them. Fucking none of them.
oh god, it's so horrid. And nice to mention of you, Crispin, that I should get a sponsor. I got a email today again by Streamlabs if I wanted to participate again
Streamy Labs.
in a sponsorship deal with
What kind of stream?
Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow. Nice.
That's the third time they try to claw me into that piece of shit.
How do they make any money?
I have no fucking clue.
Every fucker seems to have money off them. I mean, for everybody who spends $5, I have no idea what price Raid Shadow. I imagine it's a $5, some sort of mobile shit game. For everybody who spends a $5 buying that, they seem to have spent about £350 in advertising around the world.
Maybe it's just a very intricate way of laundering, money laundering.
Oh, well, that makes sense. But these days they don't even have to do that. You know, you just
buy
do
shit
one of
coin.
those. I was going to say one of those non-fungible twats. Sell a picture of a monkey.
Or as I have learned, as a woman of what others would call questionable moral, I'd say she's a adult entertainer. Coined the term "no fucking or touching."
Fair enough. Fair enough. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, Doug, that could be the future of Warhammer Plus. Doing virtual building of stuff. Why? Oh god. Yeah, with that said, I welcome everybody here. If I seem a bit queefy and not well tempered today, I've got a bit of a toothache and I'm really not liking it.
Amazing, like. Make virtual models for the $10 a week.
Yeah, and the files you download delete themselves after a year or something.
Fucking GW will start doing that. What could be better than selling miniatures? Selling virtual versions of miniatures that people don't actually do anything with at the end.
And you don't even own them.
You know, on their own special app.
Tried that one, Pete. Didn't work.
My word.
Yeah, so dentist.
My Guinness.
the morning after. But today we have interesting projects, I think.
Yeah, probably have interesting projects. I found the Rogue's Drift, James.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I did though. Did they just give up? Because it looks like, by like 7 o'clock and the building's on fire, which I noticed they've animated it and stuff. It doesn't look like anybody's dead inside the perimeter, so I'm not sure why they were complaining. I'm so confused. So confused. Anyway,
well, we start off with a.
they've had 57 views. That's slightly less than my 4,200. Go me and Team Paul.
So we start with a bit of a wall.
Bit of a wall, better than that, right?
So this is not a model for people that have been staying inside for the last 2 years. This is reality.
Yep. Reality looks sort of like my models, to be fair. I will say that.
Yeah,
I will say that for reality.
It really tries to reimagine your modeling skills.
It tries to compensate. This is part of Warhammer Grimace's photo reference. So when in China has taken many pictures, including things that would be perfect for Boxer Rebellion. So there's like a movie town where they do a lot of the filming for period dramas and stuff. But then also generic stuff has now been added into this, like dry stone walls with moth and stuff.
Old wood.
Rusty metal and chip paint, old wood, the generic randomer stuff that people need if they're attempting to replicate the day-to-day world on the tabletop. This is something I've been pushing for a while anyway, so I'm quite glad to see more in his project, because it gets revisited once every 2 to 3 years, whether we want it or not. That
just like taxes.
Exactly. That set there, which is Summer Palace, I think. Yeah, Summer Palace and Gardens on the outskirts of Beijing. It's just madness. That's the, I want to say Forbidden City, isn't it?
It looks like it.
Yeah. So, yeah, Forbidden Palace in Beijing. So you get to see it up close and personal with all the colours. All the colours all the time.
I mean, you could get yourself the DVD of The Last Emperor and just look at that, but I think this is much more interesting.
Eddie Murphy?
No, that's the Golden Child you're thinking of.
They, practically the same. I'm glad you knew it was the Golden Child, though. Most people would have went, what the fuck are you talking about, Eddie Murphy? And then I would have to explain.
Why wouldn't I know the Golden Child? That's a glorious movie of the 80s. Was it 90s?
No, it was 80s. It was 80s, but yeah, a terrific little resource for people looking to do anything in that neck of the woods in general.
Yeah.
I say that, obviously I know the boxers are coming out from Board Games Atlantic.
And even if you don't want to paint Chinese things in any way, shape or form, just looking at this bronze statue at a close up, you see how weathering would work. And
exactly.
If I hadn't known better, I would say somebody really messed up the highlighting. Looks a bit streaky, but I guess that's the weather for you.
Look how green it is. I'd like to point that out to people.
Yeah,
I can't remember who it was I seen recently, but they painted a mixture of red, rusty colour and green on a metallic statue and all. And I'm looking at this silver-looking statue thinking, one of those is wrong. And my guess is it's the green. It's either going to rust or it's going to corrode like verdigris. It comes down to the metal.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah, they're food temple dogs. There's quite a few companies do them. Watchful Eye Studios do some. GW used to do a set of temple dogs that you could have Dark Elves and Nippon mounted on. I've got a set of them in the roof loft that someday, any day now, I'm going to assemble. I'm in lead and out of production for 30 years, but I'll get around to it eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, really nice. And when I come to do Boxer Rebellion using Blood and Steel, I'll probably steal a lot of this.
Well, you're technically not stealing
acceptable.
because it's
Stealing!
being inspired by.
A team war game, no matter what you do, nobody dies. Also, it means you can fly tanks, Doug, which is very important, I feel, in a war game.
And if it's an
Hi, Dana.
A-team war game, maybe you also get a what's it called? Build your own.
Yeah, you get to draw 4 cards from a random deck while the A team are trapped inside a building.
In this barn, you will find an old tractor, some weird sheet metaling, a fully functional welder, and an AK-47 or something.
Yeah. Standard stuff that every, I mean, to be fair, as far as I'm concerned, that is pretty much standard stuff that every farm in America has.
Pretty much.
In fact, if it was only one AK, I'd be a bit disappointed.
Well, the good stuff is in the house, not in the barn.
That's true.
And also, it's the tractor won't work because it's a John Deere and the firmware has been outdated and the gas canister on the welder hasn't been refilled because of cost.
That's all right. They'll find a way around it.
Yeah.
Drink your milk, BA.
They just take 2 live wires from the 112 volt lines and use them to weld some things.
That's how it goes.
I'm pretty sure that's how welding works.
Yep.
Make sparks, metal goes hot.
You put a pair of sunglasses on and then make sparks.
Though,
anything else would be stupid.
Have you ever seen somebody who only used the goggles for welding? How they look after an hour of grand.
Do they look like seal?
They look like baked beans in the face, aside from the part that's underneath the goggles. A full shield is very much preferred while doing welding. Just saying. Also, don't film welding too long. It'll ruin your camera.
Always film welding.
Yeah, close up with your most expensive camera you have.
If you can. If you mount it to the end of the TIG welder, so it's just looking straight down from about 10 centimeters away, that would be ideal. That'd be the best.
Yeah,
anyway.
And to correct any flickering of your eyes, take a stare in the sun for about 20 minutes.
That's how it works. You need the sunlight to reset it after all the fake artificial lights.
Of course you don't do that, you wankers out there, just making sure you
No, definitely do it.
Send complaints to
German.
Beast of War.
Yep, send complaints to me. Don't worry, we threw them all in the bin without opening them.
So this is some sort of Mordheim by Lovecraft 2020.
Yes, which I have picked just because Lovecraft.
So there's a sudden influx in tentacles, I guess.
Yep. Only in this case, he's been building stuff.
It looks very interesting.
So I decided to go from the medium of real-world buildings to the medium of scratch-built buildings. Playing about with things like oil paints for the weathering, which I really like, that sort of messy, scrumbled look.
Yeah, I was going to say, the paint job on this looks very different from what I'm used to see in miniature gaming. It's
much more abstract. It's much more avant-garde, like what you would see in a copy of Mordheim by GW. To be fair,
it also looks a bit more like like natural decay instead of this building has been ruined by fire or an attack or anything. This is it has been sitting alone for ages and now
there's an awful lot of rat ogre piss up those walls to cause it to go green.
Yeah. Also that.
It's all about the rat ogre piss. But I quite like this. Monumental, over the top, Mordheim-esque building / set buildings. And again, maybe it's because I've been doing a lot of scratch building recently myself. For one reason or another, I just like to see other people doing it. So you have shit like, here's some doors, here's some mesh for windows and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Weaponized neglect.
Something is to be said about scratch building. It's at least if I'm in the mood, it's a very zen-like method of approaching things because you don't need a plan. You just have an idea in your head. Take some sticks and stones and see what comes of it.
Right. Okay. Speak for yourself.
At least that's my
what's all this
approach.
wee pale face? I have very specific plans drawn out. 'Cause otherwise, how do you know what you're building?
Who's the German here?
Don't know. We're melding in some ways.
Yeah, this is going on far too long.
But yeah, so there's a whole host in here, including things like wizard towers, made by the medium of everybody's favorite, some sort of tube, tube on tube, and some nice little painting tips and just inspiration. It is inspirational.
I love that he's gone out of his way and made the Schindlings single pieces of cardboard and just went to town.
You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Hot shingles in your area, as Sean Connery would say.
Yeah, can't blame anybody but myself.
But yeah, it's a nice. I also like the combination of the XPS blocks. So you certainly start to see it more after that tower. So we get some stone and wattle and daub plaster buildings, and I like the fact that they've gone to the effort of individually cutting out the blocks and then roughly stacking them together, and you get a really ramshackle, I suppose, feel to it all.
Yeah, it's a very, very much lived in city.
Yeah, it's perfect for Bornheim.
This is the entryway to the underground.
That's the ominous tower.
And enter here and abandon all hope. Which again shows the XPS foam is a very versatile building material.
Yep.
If you can be asked to cut individual bricks.
Well, I imagine most people can't.
No, they can't. But all the same, you can just use a rolling pin and imprint.
Yes, yeah. Which I think I showed in a jerry can. But if I didn't, I've done it quite a bit of it myself.
Oh, I think you have shown it.
I think I did. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you have.
Some week. You know.
At some point, we might get a top 10 of Jerry's top lists, sorted by randomness.
Sorted by randomness. That's the best way to sort things.
But anyway, that's how I watch my hentai.
Fair enough. Good to know. Good to know.
Oh, I meant my adult Japanese comics.
Yeah, everybody loves this new episode.
I watch it for the plot. The plot.
I'm not sure what they're using as a weather vane on top of that tower. It's not right. Looks like a fucking Skex's head.
A dead parrot?
Don't know. Its nose is broken, unfortunately.
But it looks similar to the dragon-esque gargoyles on the side, so maybe it's something like that.
Oh, I've no idea what it is. It's a bit rumbled fruity, as they say in France. Tried polystyrene plates and Green Stuff World rolling pins. Didn't imprint deep enough. Oh no! I used Green Stuff World rolling pins.
What? Didn't imprint deep enough? Well, let me show you. I don't know if this comes across on camera. This is XPS foam, and I just used one pass of a foot roller. This works.
Yeah, mine looked like that as well, but in pink.
There is a different kind of XPS foam that has a higher density that snaps back. That doesn't take it as well. And I think that's a foam that's predominantly available in the US.
Oh no. Well, Doug's not in the US. Doug is predominantly available in the UK. So bad, Doug, bad.
Doug, maybe he has used the styrofoam that is used as insulation for stepping because the thin
Oh
ones.
it's very high density.
Plates from Pound Shop that sounds like the thin stuff that isn't really made for like this is. So it's a little bit of different XPS.
What I will say is I found a company recently doing textured rolling pins, and they specifically slate them for foam, where they have a much greater indentation on them.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking much greater indentation on them. But they also look like they may be made out of something a bit wacky, like a 3D print.
Yeah,
so
I've
I'm not
seen
sure
those.
if they would stand up to any rigorous fucking around, or if you just end up breaking bits off, because 3D printing is, as we know, shit. Hence
I
why
think
every
they
week we warn people
would
with
survive,
3D
but
printing is shit.
my fear would be the print lines would also be transferred to whatever you're printing,
I mean,
rolling over.
the 3D print lines are on those Green Stuff World rolling pins.
But not so prominent as the other ones.
Well, so they're fairly fucking prominent, I'll tell you that. The first time I seen them,
Oh,
I stared at them for a while.
I just
Going, why the fuck are you
looked
there?
at chat. There's actually action. So hello, Ralph, Rumbly8, you bugger. Still hate you. Where we? Oh yeah, weird dragon-esque towers.
Yes, yeah. Skex's head on top of Mordheim Tower. But yeah, so
it looks
just
more like
really
the
nice.
handle from Mary Poppins' umbrella.
Is that not like a parrot?
Yeah, but if it were
Tell you, it
a
looks like a
proper umbrella.
Skexis.
Skexis, Gelfling, bring me Gelfling.
There's an unboxing coming out next week for the Dark Crystal RPG. I don't know where I put the book, but one of the first quotes in the book is dash the Chamberlain. I was going, that's fucking great. That is exactly what I want to see in my RPGs.
Yeah, that's
a sheer I don't give a shit.
It's a lovely movie.
Yep, it is. TV series is actually very good as well, which shocked me because I didn't watch it at the time, although I had a few friends going, you should watch this, it's very good.
Yeah,
I can't be arsed.
it
And then I
was
watched
very
it and it was like, oh, actually, this is very good. Oh, wow, this is much better in some respects than the film. Because I went back and rewatched the film, which I haven't watched probably in a decade. And I was like, oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot how slow this is.
The movie is a children's movie, and the series is actually made for children who watched the movie as children and now want to watch the series.
You know, even then, even as a child, I would prefer the series over the movie because the movie is an awful lot of fuck all happening. There's a huge dollop of fuck all with a little cherry nugget of sweet FA on the side.
My favorite character from all that series is the dog-like creature that has more mouth than anything else.
The Wiggets, they roll around place.
Yeah,
they are awesome.
Don't be sad.
Talk kids' patience. Did it fuck Doug and you know it didn't. Anyway, but yeah, so Lovecraft. Loving your work. Hey! Fucking amazing.
You kill yourself.
You.
Next up is then Denzian doing Napoleons of the West.
Yeah, I wasn't going to. I wasn't going to do a Denzian this week. And then Denzian cleverly did this, which is something we hadn't shown before. It was like, oh,
cheeky
you clever
bugger.
fucker. You clever fucker. At that point, well, I had to, really.
Yeah. I'm guessing this is... it feels like he's trying to make something along those lines of Silver Bayonet, but I may be wrong.
No, he's you can see at the top there, Alamo, Victory or Death, was the Mexican War supplement for the Old West. It's sitting just there, just too far away for me to be arse reaching for. But the Old West was a cracking wee system where the Alamo pushed it to sort of larger scale battles, although still skirmishes in the grand scheme of things, but no longer just like a gang of cowboys. But yeah, so Mexicans. So first off, we need to put on our best Mexican accents because Crispin will appreciate that.
I'm pretty sure
So
he will not come over and slap us in the face.
no, he wouldn't. No, not at all. The Alamo is one of those famous battles I knew nothing about, Senor. A few years ago, I picked up the Alamo supplement for Warhammer Historicals, the Old West game. It had rules for mass battles, sieges, and a campaign recreating the war between Texas and Mexico. I mean,
No,
that's pretty
no,
much spot
no,
on.
no, 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 no.
I mean, Crispin's probably wondering who's standing behind him with such an authentic Mexican accent right now.
That or he's just died.
But anyway, that aside, obviously we know Dadzian's work when it comes to doing the research on the historic side to allow me to steal it off him. But this one's fascinating because I picked up the Alamo, but I didn't pick it up with a view to ever running any of the actual parts in it. I picked it up for the mass battle rules for the Old West, to potentially play something else with it. You know, maybe ACW or something like that. But it's nice to see somebody actually diving into it and doing the Alamo, the War of Texas independence and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and the quality of the photos he did on the books,
Yeah,
spot
yeah.
on.
Yeah, it's very. To be fair, I have them all, so it doesn't matter. But if other people don't, I will answer Denzid's question. No, I've been talking to the authors. In fact, I'm interviewing them on Saturday because they work during the week and they're in a foreign country. Foreign, so bang goes my day off. But there are some parts of it, I think, that will be covered, but they're also planning because they don't want to try and half-ass some of the stuff they're putting into it. So Mexican War, I think, may be in there. Other parts may not, but they're working on a supplement for the other areas that won't be covered. So I'll try and get a full list off them. Actually, I'm just trying to get a fucking copy of the PDF of the rules so I can have a nosy through it. I ordered a fuckload of extra stuff. I ordered loads of Natal Native Horse and Lancers a couple of weeks ago. I'm still waiting on Empress to fucking send them out. Cast faster, you fucks. Because as soon as I've got it, I can fucking play that one on camera with Paul.
Oh, speaking of casting, I had a very interesting discussion with someone on a social network that is not Twitter, but similar.
Right.
He was going,
Twitter.
why doesn't people do their own castings? Can't be that hard. You just get yourself a 3D printer, make yourself a mold, and you start spin casting. And I was going, you may have skipped a few steps there, son.
I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility.
No, it's not. But he made it sound like you needed something along those lines of €1,000, and you'll be set to recycle beer cans into models.
Twumbucka. Yeah, you run into problems. So problem one, 3D print, then you need to make the master. You need to make the master in either galvanized rubber or a high temperature silicon,
Yeah.
which means you need to have a degassing chamber or a high pressure mold. And then after that, you've got your mold, and then you need to either spin cast, which means buying a spin machine, expensive, building your own, like Anthony did from Bot Wars. He built his spin cast machine to make his first figures out of an old washing machine using a YouTube tutorial. That's one where you set it running. You know that one where somebody's throwing a brick in a washing machine and run away as it dances? It must be similar to that. You set it going, you heat up metal, and you pour it in, and then run the fuck away and hope you don't get sprayed by it.
Yeah, and with every step he always neglected energy cost. Okay, if you're going to do that, this is going to be expensive on your electric bill.
Yeah, I mean, you can get away with the high temp silicon. You don't need to use the galvanized rubber, but if you're doing that,
yeah, but
it's gonna degrade faster.
At the second where he starts melting down beer cans for the aluminum, that's where it gets expensive. And
you'd be surprised how many cans it actually requires to make a bottle.
Yeah, and I think the the thought I gave him to consider is, if it were so easy and so cheap, why are small miniature makers outsourcing these things and not doing them themselves?
Oh, there's no reason why you can't homecast. Prince August in Ireland
No,
have been doing
I'm not
homecasting
saying
kits
you
for
can't
years.
not do it. It's just not cost efficient if you do it by yourselves and just for yourselves. And if
Yep.
Chat doesn't stop
Mm,
mentioning bot wars, I'm going to get over
I
there
mean,
and bot war the death out of you.
hey Dave.
Wankers.
Um, I mean, you can. You can. It's not unreasonable to cast yourself, although the raw materials are going through the roof these days. I know people who have cast whole Napoleonic armies using Prince August molds. So, you know, it's doable.
Yeah.
But then you're at that point you're relying on somebody to have produced the bits and bobs. You'd be better off not spin casting, to be brutally honest. Just pour cast them yourself, and if they go fucking sideways, then chuck them in the bin or melt them down, use them again, whatever's easiest.
It surely is a way to do things, but it's no way, in any way, shape, or form, a cheap or easy way to go.
Hmm.
If you want to make that as a hobby, do it. But there's a reason why not so many people do that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I can see his point. Warren was talking for a long time about doing 40 mil figures for a conquest boot camp. Well, not figures, buildings. Uh, no, it's buried. He got. Could I? I might be able to get this actually. So obviously, him and Justin are mad keen on printing everything all the time, whether it needs it or not. It's like, should we do this? Oh, we could just print it, or we could just, not. If people remember the Flames of War boot camp, Warren decided he really needed to have a medieval castle on the Flames of War tables. So he printed towers and wall sections from 50 mil, 1/100
Yeah,
scale.
I remember those.
So he
Didn't he say he wanted to recycle them for Joan of Arc?
probably, I don't think that's happened yet. Anyway, he then imbigulated one to. Oh, do I have? No, I don't know. I've got one of the big fucking trolls anyway. So that's a war bread. So he's a troll-sized cunt. Oh, hang on, I've got a hero. Come to me, hero. So this is a standard infantry figure for conquest, and then that is the 15 mil castle scaled up to their scale.
Looks
Now he's going.
looks a bit tiny.
Well, this is one floor, of which you would need, I think, 4. But scale-wise, it's spot on. When you look at things like windows. And he was going, oh, we could just print these. And they printed out one as a test, which failed, by the way, because John is much better at printing than Warren and Justin. But the time it took to print out one, and this fills a bed, meant that it was like one every 4 or 5 hours. And if they wanted to have a tower on every table, it was going to take
Days.
Weeks to do them, with no time in between. I'm going, at that point, you just go, you 3D print one and you cast the fucker. Which is why this is here, because I wanted to do a test cast and also use foam, because I thought a skinned foam, expanding foam, would work for it. So in that respect, your Mano was right. 3D printing an army, yes, it may cost pennies, but could take fucking forever, and you're constantly having to fill in empty beds. But if you could make what you're looking to make, print it once, because one print takes 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever the fuck it is. I could cast this, and once it's cast, I could be pulling foam versions out every 15 minutes. Literally 15, pull, pour, 15, pull, pour. And in that same 5 hours, I would have filled all of the tables rather than attempting to do them all in 3D printing. So 3D printing has its place, but
It
it's
has
not
its limitations.
fast enough for big production runs.
Yeah. And if you got yourself a vacuum chamber, you can do them in a quite good manner on resin.
You could. I mean, I've been playing around with expanding foam. This is one of my Rock's Drift carts, because I made a mold of it because it has so many intricate undercuts. I was curious to see whether or not you could use it to cast in foam, and the answer is yes, although not like this. I spent about 70 quid learning that this wouldn't really work. I need to stop buying shit and testing out with my own fucking money is what I need to do. But because that's that, there was a German company did high density foam that we did on the weekend a while ago. They used to do GW stuff, and it was like, that high density foam is amazing. I've got some behind me, and it was at that point it was like, it's been sitting there for 2 years during quarantine, and I've still never got around to casting that fucking bit of tower to see how it works. So I went for a much more intricate mold to see if I could pull it instead. So yeah, right tool for the right job, I think, is the question there.
Yeah. Yeah, Ralph, he had, so Zob did casting with Massive, Lord of the Rings table, but they failed mostly because he used different versions of silicone. He mixed them, so the molds were bad. That's why it went kapooey. Citerdis is the one I think you mentioned, the German
That's the one.
company.
Yep. Them.
So, going back to, ouch, my finger, Denzian, interesting project to start. I'm guessing there will be more coming along those lines.
Yeah, I hope so. I imagine there will be. If there's not, him and his wife are obviously already living in fear of you burying their bodies in the garden, so I imagine they can be spooked into completing that.
I have
Take some time off work,
no idea
Denzian,
what
we'll
you're talking
progress for
about.
next.
Yeah. So the next project then will be Carnivali by Warbost.
Did have a look at this last week. There's a few more bits and pieces in here. But there's also some cardboard buildings,
which I really like. Usually they are an interesting way to make your table look filled. Oh, what's this? Interesting. I don't think that is his doing.
No, that's one of the studio paint jobs for a deep one looking fella. I will say this, actually, on the subject of 3D printing for casting, because this is only going to apply to probably one person in the chat and nobody who watches this after. 3D print resin sometimes interacts badly with silicon.
Oh.
If you're going to prototype in 3D and then cast with silicon, you can't use platinum cured silicon. You have to use tin cured, I believe. I'll double check that while we're talking throughout the night and come back at the end
with a random fact.
It's worth knowing there are different types of silicon, and some of them will go very badly wrong. In fact, it will stop. The actual print will stop the silicon from curing, and what you'll end up with is a mold, and when you take your thing out of the middle, it's just a goopy mess of uncured silicon around it with no fucking details on it at all.
So a very, very convenient way of making your nurglings.
Excellent way of doing it. Oh, Soap Dodger, learned that 2 years ago and fucked a master. Can you remember what one it was? I think it's platinum cured. I'll look at this. But yeah, while we're looking at some Venetian nutter butters.
The axe looks a bit weird model-wise. Why would you add a sharp edge to something you use for rowing? Doesn't make any sense. It's not logical.
It's not. These are always terrible, terrible shame.
The-
But look at them, though. They look great.
He looks like he's going, can you lend me a $5?
Are you sure? Sure he's not just doing that, where he's just kind of stroking the face going,
All
I
that,
like
yeah.
you.
We like you
Very
very
nice.
much. Oh, see, now he's greeting the crowds. Hello. Nice to see you.
There you go. There's something called a maker bot, where they've done a whole breakdown, and at no point have they mentioned that there are two different catalysts for silicon, and one of them fucks with 3D prints. Oh, fuck you very much. I know exactly who will answer this question, but it may require me to run through a YouTube video in the background. This is what happens. I do like those little cardboard buildings.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, did you say in the project where he got the pictures?
They actually, I think, are part of the 2-player starter set for Carnivale. So I think those are
cardboard buildings that come with the starter set. Well,
Yeah.
that's a nice touch then.
350. You're giving you no 350. The hell away from my house, you goddamn sea monster. But here's the thing, because when you're doing something like that, right? Call me a square, like a square old Mr. Square. They are a bit flimsy. Now, if you can be arsed, get yourself a cardboard box. Just a big fuck off old cardboard box. Cut it into layers, and then just masking tape it together or duct tape it together, and use that to reinforce it.
Yeah.
Just have a solid block of cardboard that you can stick inside. It's cheap as fuck. It will hold the shape, and you can just put the skin around it.
Yeah, and also if you invest the time, you can make every side you're folding has a inner part where you can fit in a sturdier piece of cardboard, or just
it's the other way around.
Even use plastic card.
So don't use platinum cured, use tin cured. That's good, because I'd got to the point where I've got the video up, but I was having to scrub through to find where he was saying that. So now you know, kids. And knowing is half the battle. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, it's chemical reactions are always fun.
They are fun.
What was the reaction that super glue had with someone's trousers? Going poof? I remember.
There's lots of that.
Luckily, I never had that.
Oh, forever drop it on your jeans or something like that, and just end up.
No, really, don't want to do that.
Hot steaming, eye stinging stuff.
No, please don't. Let's venture on from Warburst Carnivale to 10 mil orcs.
Yes.
By Toros, the cheeky bugger.
I've heard of him. He says 10 mil, but they look awfully big. I'm sure they're not like 15 mil.
So what is it that...
Look, these are 3D prints. Toros.
What made you say that these arms will fall off?
Because he dropped one, and because it's a 3D print and therefore inferior to metal, the arm splintered off.
Oh, what a shame.
On a scale of 1 to Bot Wars being returned to half a hemisphere away, how badly does that rank?
Oh God, I hate you. I hate you so much.
That is the scale that we work on these days.
I thought Banana Man is our scale.
Sometimes it's our scale.
Oh, have you seen that, speaking of Banana Man, that Amanda had posted some pictures in the Discord for Roman Legionnaires?
No, because I don't look at the work in progress on Discord.
And one of them had a helmet that looked very butt plucky-esque. And she had called him, I think, Marcus butt pluckius or something.
Fair enough. That's the way to go. So yeah, 10mm figures, robed nutter butter orcs for
And they're
the
not-
game of Fantastic Battles.
And they're not green-skinned for once.
No, well, you know, GW did this whole green skin thing. Tolkien started off. Tolkien's orcs were dirt skinned. Earlier than that, they were what? Human skin toned, just corrupted. So I like to see people getting away from green. Variety is the spice of life. Not every human is white. Why should every orc be green?
I would go as far as say the majority of humans aren't white. Not even close. Most of them are any shade of pink or brown.
And yet, well, let's say Caucasian then, if we're going to be like that.
Okay.
You obtuse bastard. And yet,
I don't know what that word means.
every sci-fi human you ever see painted up by anybody ever is always as pale as fuck.
Yeah, that's because they don't see light much, do they?
Oh, they see plenty of light. I mean, it was so nice to see War Games Atlantic do a load of African heads for World War One.
Do you see the light?
You know, it's just one of those things.
A lovely little project, and it's been going for some time, I see.
Yeah, every now and again he'll finish a unit off. It's like one every 8 to 9 months, whether we want it or not.
Now, the last break seemed to be a bit longer. July 2019 and then January 2021.
Coronavirus got in the way. This is still technically 2020.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough.
Can't count that.
Yeah,
when he finishes, he'll
that.
be able to play my elves. Well, that will mean I have to clean my elves and paint them.
I was just going to ask, do you have painted elves?
No, fuck no. I've got painted Empire. If I rebase my Empire, I could probably play him.
Why would you rebase them?
To get them off War Master bases and onto 40mm squares.
Well, nice work for unbroken trolls.
They're actually quite nice, although they're very Warcraft-esque with the tasks out
the a bit.
face.
They reminded me of them.
Who knew? Winnie.
Demon Sub is just pale. Oh well. Nobody can be perfect.
You know, it's metal. It's all good.
And
Can't
again,
go far wrong with metal.
Some more orcs.
Well, yes. After JMS doing the Lord's own work with a battle report, he's decided to show off some of his army complete. And as he puts it, what an army. And as I would like to say, holy shit balls, look at that. Look at it. It's fucking magical. Look at all those Lord of the Rings orcs taking off their terrible round bases and put on lovely square bases like nature intended, like God wants. And look how sexual that is. I mean, I'd have to knock one off the cuff if I hadn't already done one prior to filming. Look at them. Look at them. Wow.
Yeah, and for sure makes them more easy to manage.
Well, yeah, allows you to play more games as well. Better, happier, more productive. I really like it. I love the vista of a fully built army. It's just great. Look at that pike block. Look at that.
I always wondered
fucking
why
ensnaring.
Games Workshop went with round bases for Lord of the Rings.
Fuck only knows, to be brutally honest. I generally can't think of a reason. I can probably think of one reason to differentiate it from Warhammer. So they didn't want people getting any ideas that they could use those Lord of the Rings figures in Warhammer. It's also the reason why Lord of the Rings is true 28mm and Warhammer figures were, by the time they came out, fucking 30mm and cresting. You know, these look like midgets beside them. And that was another thing, because that was part of the Tolkien estate. It was, you cannot do these the same size as your other stuff, because people cannot be playing your
Fantasy
games
elves.
with our Lord of the Rings and
Yeah.
our elves and our humans. Yes, Hazy Boy. Yes, do a pike block. What's your name? Don't tell a pike. They're cutting corners. They're rounding them off. Yes. Similar but different. Yes, but then they went on to do the mass battle game, which required them to make movement trays to turn all the round bases into squares for the mass battle rank and file game. Whereas if they just done them on squares to begin with, in like Mordheim, squares work in a skirmish game, rounds don't work in a rank and file game. So it's one of those things. By the way, if anybody's paying attention at home, I had this last week. Excellent gift work made with tonka beans. It's fucking amazing. I got another 6.
Beer with tonka beans?
Yes. I didn't even know what a tonka bean was, or even that a tonka bean existed before I tried this the other week. Now I'm going, this is just great. Well worth the far too much a can that it is in comparison to other beers. You know, I could get 10 beers. I could get 10 Guinness for the price of 2 of these cans.
That's in comparison.
Yep. Yes, it is. But my word, tonka beans. Wow. Anyway.
Next thing we know, that's a euphemism for some poor animal's nuts.
Probably. But, you know, fuck them. If I need to exterminate a species to get that stout with tonka beans, then I have absolutely no problem in bapping them over the head myself with a fucking hammer. I will do these things.
Yeah. After GMS Stockwell,
maybe they're truck nuts for Tonka cars.
There's Scripps doing Napoleonic wargaming.
Yes. The little scribblet. Doing scribby type things.
In 15/18 mil?
Yep. It depends who you ask. I like the fact that we don't want to go way too far. Oh, that's a perfect picture there.
Is that one taking
having a piss up against the tree? Yes, it's a lovely little camp scene where they're enjoying a moment between battles, and they may die tomorrow, but tonight we're live, and therefore we must drink and make merry, and then micturate all over this tree. I knew that tree was coming because we've been discussing that in the white glue jerry can I'd done. Where I'm going to all these fucking different glues you can glue shit on with.
Well, he didn't glue shit, he glued piss.
Yes, he did. I just could not go past this project.
I think he missed an opportunity there to actually use some
just have a stream.
A thin wire of some sort.
A fishing line is what, if you're ever looking to do piss in miniature scale, and let's face it, who isn't? You want to use nylon wire, and fishing line is the best way of doing that to get a see-through stream, and then you can just go in with Yoo-hoo or PVA or something afterwards to give it a more ruffled texture.
I think,
but that is the only reason we're here, is this little mini diorama and that guy pissing against the tree, because we're bang up to date with this. I'd just like to point that out right now.
This is an interesting update for any wargaming scenario. And if you don't find this kind of stuff funny when it's fielded on the table, what's wrong with you?
Yep. Shockingly, the tent is cast by Debris of War. I used to have a lot of Debris of War stuff for World War II. I didn't think they were still going. Maybe they're not, to be brutally honest.
Maybe that's set in storage with him for some time.
Well, why not? A golden button for the golden shower? I would love to. I often get stopped. Terrible people stop me from picking golden button winners like Ben. I keep going, why not Crispin for this? Because it's amazing. And then Ben goes, is it a burrow or a badger? And I go, it's neither of those things. And then he goes, no.
Terrible Ben. Terrible.
And then he sends me like his chocolate starfish taken with a very up-close camera. It's horrible. I can't sleep at night. No, Debris of War still going, and they still have the dug-in markers that I bought, so that's good. Oh, that is fucking tonka beans, lads. I have no idea what they are, where they're from, but you need to all have beer made of tonka beans. It's not even like drinking.
So, I think the next one is a specialty. Moonstone by Irish Steve. So, what's that cheeky bugger off to again? Making us look all horrible?
He's I don't know. He can't be attempting to win more salute buttons because salute's not about at the moment. But he is painting more Moonstone. This is the sort of thing that annoys me, to be brutally honest. I introduce people to a game, and then they go ahead and
Pass you?
well, they open the boxes and fucking assemble and paint the miniatures. This is like when I introduced everybody to Saga up at the club in Coleraine, and then 4 or 5 of them ended up with painted forces, and I've still not got around to fucking finishing one. You know, it's like that. It's gritting. It's irritating. I hate them. I hate them so much. But
did Ben say he introduced everybody to Saga, or was that something different?
oh, he may have introduced somebody up there to Saga, or at least told them it existed before I came along on the scene. But I arrived, kicked the doors opened to the studio, and went, Saga bitches, you're all playing it now. And then they all knuckled down and bought armies and the rules and started playing Saga. Ben's too far away to actually hassle them into playing, although he should actually hassle them into playing. That witch, she's gorgeous. I love what Steve's done with that.
Yeah, he's far too talented for his own good.
He is, but if it's any help, he's very short. Yes, Rumbly will back me up here. Very short.
And I think he's lacking some hair, does he?
I don't know. I've never. You'd need to take the cap off first to know for certain.
When I've learned something, people who wear caps all day don't have hair beneath it.
It's funny you say that. The first GW Belfast manager, a Scottish guy called Andy, wore a cap for ages, and we were over at like Golden Demon in 96, something like that, and we were going over on the ferry, and we'd stopped off somewhere, and he took the cap off, and we all looked at him, and he was bald. I was like, "You're fucking bald!" It's like the first time you've taken the hat off in front of anybody in 2 years. Nobody knew you were bald. That's hilarious.
I see my point proven then.
Mm.
I like the tartan work he's done on the vest of these little...
Well, he knows if you're going to paint something, you've got to paint tartan on it, or you'll get dog's abuse from somebody from the north. I don't know who from the north you get dog's abuse from, but you will get some. What I'll also say, as a pure random aside, is that is my family tartan.
Purely coincidence.
It must be, because at no point have I given him abuse and told him he has to do it or he'll get stabbed up. Although we do have a game he won from Salute that I still have to send to him. I really need to get his address to send him that game down, because he didn't have enough room to take it back home himself. It's like, fuck it. We'll keep it in England with these chimps. They can send it to Korea and we'll send it to you. Bish bash bosh. But yeah, Tom loves people liking his game and his miniatures, and if he sees them, he will post them. And another painter I follow, the Brush Mistress, did her first miniature in fucking nearly 3 years, and it was Butterfingers, one of the fairies, and I was like, has Tom seen this? And she's going, no, he has not. I don't even think she knows who Tom is. So I immediately messaged Tom, because I have him on WhatsApp, going, you should see this. And later on, Tom went, this is amazing. I've messaged her and asked what she charges for commission. And then later on that day on FacePage, I got a ping back from Jess going, Tom has seen it now. Going, I fucking know he has. So yeah.
Did you make a cut with it?
Did he want what?
Did you get a cut from what he's paying her now?
I don't imagine so. I don't get anything. I just throw money at him. Free, on the other hand, went message Tom and goes, Tom, can I have a t-shirt? I go, I don't do t-shirts. The t-shirts are all for me and my staff when we're doing conventions. Tom, can I? So he sent her a fucking t-shirt. I have a t-shirt. It's outrageous.
Yeah, but
What am I doing promoting this game? This game's balls. Everybody stop playing Moonstone.
she has got 2 arguments that you don't.
It's the buns, the
Yes,
hair buns. I'll
it's
put my
the
hair
buns.
buns
Yes,
for
yes.
the weekender.
I'm going to say yes.
Mm.
It's the hair.
Princess Space Buns. The Jada figure, though, is lovely. Absolutely adore
Which
that
one
Jada.
was that?
The fawn leaping off the log, firing backwards.
This one.
It's a stunning. Weirdly, I say weirdly a lot. I don't know why. But I've ordered a large resin log, almost identical to that, because I've got the 1/16 big off, fuck off version of her from the Kickstarter. And I looked at it and it was like, she'd look great if she was leaping off a log. Although I'm also planning on doing a tree behind her because it's such a big model. It's nice to see that Steve, thinks like me. So that's good.
Yeah. Great minds think alike or just steal ideas from one another.
Fools seldom differ is the rest of that statement.
Is it?
Yes.
I wouldn't know.
Great minds think alike, fools seldom differ. But yeah, so Jada's gorgeous. Really, really nice figure.
After all this Moonstonius, we go to the stars.
Yeah, I figured we'd do this for you.
Yeah, I've already seen this today as...
Of course you have. Why would you not?
The very lovely turret that he has made has seen some action in the game of Star Wars Legion.
Yes, but better than that, he wrote a battle report based on it.
Yeah. The only thing that struck me a bit odd was that he's still using the cardboard tokens without any protective shielding.
Well, that's because this is his very first game.
There's no reason to protect yourself even if it's your first time, kids.
No,
Let it be known.
Always go bareback the first time to see whether or not you enjoy it. And if you do, you can always think about rubbering up next time. And if you don't, then you don't need to worry about it. Knock it on the head, move on. Nothing will go wrong with that. It's all good. Do this at home.
Someday I'm going to get to real
Feels
trouble.
different, kids. Feels different.
Oh, no argument on that front. Yeah, and he's going... What? Bareback. Oh, yeah.
I think we've seen all that last week, or at least I did. Maybe we talked about it on the show. Maybe I just talked about it to myself.
No, last week we only saw the Ministry of City Walk, and that was the day after.
Oh, right, okay. In that case, he also did Shield Generator.
Yeah, and he used plastic art and Lego pieces.
Yep, which is fucking genius.
Yeah.
And if anybody thinks I'm not stealing that idea, then they don't know me.
So I think making the actual round parts, that's a bit tricky.
See, can't get more on board with the Pope than me, Panzer. Pope says no to rubbers, then I'll be barebacking all the way to Rome.
The Lord commands it.
Yep. But yeah, the Shield Generator is really nice. I'd just like somebody going through and playing the first game and seeing what they think of it as well. Just going, here's how it goes. Here's what I think of it.
Yeah.
It's fascinating seeing somebody's take on a game for the first time that you've played and going, all right, well, yes, no, that's all good. The fact that he's looking forward to playing it again and not just going, well, the miniatures are nice to paint, but the game's garbage, is always a good sign.
Yeah. I think the round bits aren't CDs because you see the beveled edges. That's the part where it gets tricky making, because the two round pieces aren't the tricky part, but getting this stripe in a way that it matches the shape, that's going to be a nightmare to cut.
Stripe that matches the shape, that's a nightmare to cut.
Yeah, because it's going to have a turn looking like a smiley face if you cut it from a flat piece of styrene.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I'm guessing he may have made some paper models beforehand, and then just to get the
Angle.
angle right.
Yeah. He could have done, or he could have just done the math. Although, having seen Lloyd attempting to do the math to put a pyramidal roof on a tower and just giving up. Actually, he didn't, did he? He just started sticking triangles together and started cutting bits off until they fit eventually. Whereas I sat down and worked it out, going, it's very simple. We just need Pythagoras. Everybody knows Pythagoras. And again, like we said earlier at the start of the show, when it comes to scratch building, plans are important. Plans allow you to build something without fucking up, knowing exactly what you need to do.
Objection, Your Honor.
I
Just wing it.
I knew how I could build a pyramidal roof for my tower. I built it in one
wing
go.
it.
Lloyd
Get yourself
said
a
no, and he had to keep
block
cutting
of
bits off.
foam
Stop!
and cut
No,
as long as you.
don't listen to him. Don't listen to the German.
Madman
Jesus.
rambles at cloud.
Son of a bitch. Anyway, so
Talking about scratch building.
Yep.
Firelock.
Going from the best star to the worst star.
As
We're
we've
having
seen in the cross-riddle word
Yep.
thingy-tick that
Crossword
Torres
puzzle.
had sent from, what was it? The New York Times?
The New York Times.
A stroke of genius.
So we did look at this last year when he was kicking off, and doing a bit of bodging and badging and painting. There's a little bit of a update, which is vis-a-vis the Papercraft shuttle plus landing party, but they are still playing. Unfortunately, he's used something. Can I? No, I can't. Can I? I can edit project. I'm just saying, if I can get in there, I can change that to be an actual link and not just something that people have to cut and paste. No, I can't. Son of a bitch. Okay. I can't edit individual posts. This is so annoying.
Oh.
Tom, if you're watching, and I know you won't be, allow me to edit people's posts as well. That would be great. But if you haven't been paying attention, and I imagine some people have and some people haven't, Hailing Frequency is like a podcasty talk show that they do on the Twitch with the kids and the MTV and the drugs. And they also have been doing their Star Trek RPG playthrough on that as well. So if you enjoy listening to people chitter on,
pretending to be what they are not,
then that is something that you can do. You can do that via the medium of the twitching Hailing Frequencies every fortnight. It's also on the YouTubes. Again, if I was allowed to edit people's projects, there'd be an awful lot less private projects out there. Actually, now we think about it. But, that's aside. Will Lloyd finish his army?
Maybe?
No, he won't.
So, as I press on, because I really want to get this thing over with today, sorry people, 144 Artist has done interesting thing from North Star Miniatures.
He's done a few.
Very interesting and unique miniatures, might I say, because I don't think I've ever seen these before.
Have you not? Do you not watch what I do? I hate you.
What are you talking about?
So, 12 by 12 artist has done a primate mechanic called Ben Ubu Bonobo, the most highly sexed chimp you can find in the animal kingdom. Nice. Obviously, he copied my fantastic idea of a chimp with a gun, which I stole from Hellboy, and also the fact that there's a chimp head on that sprue. But he's been working away on probably the best box for Stargrave. That mercenaries box, which has all the weird alien heads, including shit like chimp heads, that's one of the trooper bodies. That's less interesting. Troopers are less interesting. But having dog-faced bastards, lizard-faced bastards, squid-faced bastards, and the occasional chimp is all good. He's got quite a lot of placeholders that I might go in and add stuff to.
Yeah, I think he was
Maybe I'll
complaining
add some of my
about
own
the
pictures.
project system going haywire and not letting him finish.
Really? How unusual for the project system, which, as we all know, is 100% bang on every time.
Yeah, never fails.
I quite like that Kev White sculpt, because I was looking at that and then comparing it to the stuff I have from Studio McVeigh for Sedition Wars, and they're very fucking similar.
Yeah, and I must really say this picture, the paint job he did on the female head is astonishing.
He's a talented man.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And/or highly sexed space chimp.
Maybe.
If you have any droopy mouthed crew head sprues. Oh, okay. I don't know, Doug. I honestly can't remember if I kept them here or if I put the extra sprues back up in the studio, in which case they've probably been eaten by Warren. But if I still have them here, I'll check and dig stuff out for you, mate.
Why would Warren eat sprues?
He's like a big hobby vacuum cleaner, hoovering shit up so he can play with it in his house.
Oh,
Going
that
up,
kind of
numma, numma,
eating.
numma.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but it's been a while since we'd seen 144 doing some work on this. I think last year was the last time we'd got an update, so it's nice that it hasn't been abandoned, just been a little bit of a break.
Not
Like Elvis.
forgotten, just refined.
Don't mind me, I'm just taking a break. Cue the Kit Kats. But they're nice figures. The First Contact team from Hasselfree's nice, and the plastics are really cute.
Yeah, and it's also nice if you got a box of minis that isn't predefined like most of boxes you get today, where you have choices.
I mean, they're still, they do 3 boxes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 3 boxes, and they can all be mix and match to fuck. And in fact, you can mix and match them with all the fantasy boxes they do. So if you want to have cultists in space, you can do that. If you want to have,
An ape-headed wizard for Frostgrave.
Ape-headed wizard is doable. Sometimes spells go wrong. if you want to have sci-fi serpent men, then that is also doable because they have a very simple tooling style where they go heads are on ball. Every head is on a fucking ball socket, regardless. Because I know some companies like Wargames Atlantic, I love them to bits, but sometimes they're on flat surfaces and sometimes they're ball socket, which means mixing and matching isn't always easy. But these are just simply stock. Arms go off at the shoulders, which means every arm will fit every body. Heads are all ball sockets, so every head will mix on every body. And it doesn't matter whether you pick up a Oathmark elf sprue, a Frostgrave cultist, or a space chimp looking fucker from Stargrave. You can mix and match. So they're good.
That's the way I like my sprues. Interchangeable.
Knolls in space.
Wouldn't that be more like Knolls in space?
That's the one. Like my drow in space, but different.
When we last saw our crew,
Intrepid crew, Miss Piggy was fucking everybody except Kermit.
And now there's bacon on the table.
Well, we know that pigs do fuck frogs in space. How else would we get Gamorrean guards?
So you're
Greening looks
telling
like
me
a pig.
you're telling me the next time Grogu is seeing a Gamorrean god, he's going to try to eat him?
Probably. Why the fuck not? Did I? Oh, I'll have to send you that later. It's somebody's done a cartoon of Grogu and all the shit that Luke did to him, like firing the blasters at him.
Yeah, and he's calling the Mandalorian.
He's calling the Mandalorian.
They did what?
How are you getting on at school? He did what? Yeah.
Yeah, spoilers.
Don't worry. I'm sure if people didn't want spoilers, they wouldn't have listened to us talk about toy soldiers up until now.
Yeah.
To suddenly diverge into the Mando.
So the next and final project for today is Tuffy, the painting machine that is.
Yes, a little bit disappointed that she hadn't managed to get the complete miniature done and dusted in time for the
Gold button.
Well, no, for the actual weekend they're going out on Sunday, because I think it was like, I want to say it was Saturday. Taffy goes, I've ordered the bits to make that landing craft, and we were talking about it. Oh no, it must have been Thursday because we film on a Thursday. So it was like, I've ordered the bits to make the landing craft, and I said in the weekend, it's like, she's probably got to finish by now. And it wasn't quite by the time that went live, but it fucking wasn't far off it.
No, the same with her horsies when she showed them off the new box she got, showed them off in Discord, and I was saying to her, so you are done with them this afternoon, and a day later they were done.
Yep. That's the way to do it.
Makes you wonder how she manages to get the paint dry.
Same way I do, mate.
Listening to weird podcasts on the internet that all blow hot smoke. Oh, or hairdryer. Oh,
How'd that sound for people at home?
I don't know. I wasn't listening.
Oh, I did not do this. Is Skype filtering out my fucking hairdryer?
It would have been hilariously now if your hairdryer would have molten your microphone.
No, I just put it on the fan. I didn't put it on heat. I'm not an idiot. Is there anything I do not have within? Yeah, quite a few things, unfortunately.
The toilet.
I mean, for example, with this, I don't need a toilet. I've got a 2-liter empty milk bottle with an easy reach. It's got a wide neck on it as well. It's like a Pepsi Slam. They're good.
You just scared the shit out of Hazeboy's dog.
Oh, there we go. That's all right then. I wouldn't have done it a second time, except Pun Dancer said that nothing happened.
I'm astounded that people are still listening to this show over the speakers. Aren't you scared that your spouses or anybody else listens into what you are listening
people
to?
don't want to hear us. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Alexa, order dog food and lighters.
Okay, Google. Subscribe to Warhammer Plus.
Siri, suck my plums. Anyway. But yeah, obviously, Taffy got a golden butt ding, but that's not what we're here for, because, you know, that is substandard to being picked to be poked at during the medium of this episode. But the landing craft ramp that Lloyd had went, oh, I've seen somebody has done this. They've mocked it up using Photoshop. It looks great. I should get the bits to make that. And while Lloyd was still humming and hawing over whether or not he should do that, Taffy found it, ordered the bits, built the fucker, and
painted
it. While Lloyd is still sitting there waiting for his, I assume he's waiting for his parcel to have gone through the 24 to 48 hour quarantine before he can bring it into the house from the porch, and then he'll just box goes into the bathtub with a load of disinfectant,
and then he just tries to salvage whatever's left after he puts it into the acid.
Good times.
Dave, this is not a reasonable request.
It does look good though. I mean, it looks too good to be Games Workshop current era, because so much of their stuff is over-engineered and wank looking. Whereas that looks like classic 80s to 90s GW, where it looked like a piece of kit that would actually be running around the place.
It would be functional. Car boot liner. Well, can't hurt to have that. Yeah, I think.
So yeah, none of that.
Tuffy has done a splendid job on those. Just saying that.
Yeah, it does. It looks like something that should exist in the Warhammer universe. It looks well.
Yeah.
And let's face it, we're never going to see Lloyd's version of it painted. That's never going to happen. So we'll just live through Tuffy.
Yeah. Has he finished the Roman tower with a?
Fucking not only no, but fuck no. He's built a load of Deathcore of Krieg, because I seen him asking Tom to order another box of Deathcore for him today, and Tom going, we've got lots of boxes in stock. Do you just want to buy one? I'll just put one aside for you now. You can come down and get it. I don't need to order them. We have them. So,
Yeah, and wasn't there something about crude?
oh, there's always something about crude. In this case, he's not getting any crude. Crude are to him what bot war is to you. Neither of you shall ever get any new ones.
On that bombshell, fuck you lot.
Gas cats.
I'm going to bed. Have a nice
Good plan.
day, you fucking wankers. Thanks for being here. Go and have a nice cup of tea on my account.
Go fuck yourselves.
Bye.